My name is Gina Volynsky, and I'm the director for the Center of International Development, and I'm also part of the faculty of the Masters of International Affairs program, and I'm currently teaching a course called Global Nonprofit Management. People who do international affairs, and particularly my specialty, which is international development, tend to be people who are very, very engaged with the outside world. They care about what happens internationally, and people who are doing international development in particular, they don't just care; they want to do something about the plight of people in other countries. And so people have strong opinions and they have strong feelings because they're vested in it. They see their future in it, and they want to make a difference. And so they ask a lot of very hard questions, of each other, of me. And that makes for very interesting, for a very interesting class and very interesting interaction. The course is sort of an overview of everything that a manager, or anyone working for that matter, for nonprofits all over the world, has to know in order to successfully run, fund, implement, staff, and organize, and at the bottom line, also get the results for the people where they're working. And so I think what I've tried to do in my course is not just to bring myself as a practitioner, but obviously I'm working in this field. I've been doing this for over 25 years, actually probably coming close to 30 now. And so I have a very wide network of people that I've worked with from all over the world who do this. So what I've been trying to do is probably every second class, I bring in other practitioners who talk about their experience, their expertise. So these are people who are not professors, but people who are currently doing the work and currently working in some of the organizations that we are covering in class. In the beginning of the semester, the students we have like a whole discussion about the top international nonprofits, and each student adopts an international nonprofit that they're going to follow for the rest of the semester. And then every week we have a different topic, and then every week the students prepare a presentation on that specific topic from the perspective of their nonprofit. So they go in and they research. So for example, we looked at what are the sources of funding. We're sort of looking over, I was giving overall what are the different types of sources of funding, but then each one of them research for their nonprofit, where do they get most of their funding and what form is that funding. And then another week we did communication. So they looked at the type of messages that they're doing, how are they advocating, how they're doing communication in general, what kind of platform are they using. And so every week they do a different presentation. So that accounts for the majority of the grade. But then as they're doing the presentations, we're discussing, we're learning, and of course we're having these additional speakers coming in, often from these in fact nonprofits that they're international nonprofits that they're studying. And so the final project that they have to do is really put all these presentations together and then basically update them based on the knowledge that they've learned, and also give recommendations for the organizations based on what they've seen with other organizations and what they've learned in the course. So that's the final project, and almost everything is done on Blackboard. So they're not emailing me. Everything is uploaded. Most of the work is done either through discussion boards. So so for example, on the case studies, the homework was to actually participate in a discussion board, or it's they do a research for either their INGO, international nonprofit, or for another one, and then they put it on a couple of pages of a Word document and they upload it, or it's most of the work though is through PowerPoint and through presentations and through in-class, interaction and exercises. And I just want to make a comment about the readings. I don't have a textbook, again, because things change so fast. I don't want to be tied to something that was written a few years ago and suddenly everything changes. So because we don't have a textbook, almost every week the readings can come from all sorts of different sources, and the readings are generally the kind of readings that somebody who's in the field would actually be looking at. So there's very little sort of theoretical readings. For example, we might be looking at the U.S. government has a registry of all nonprofits and whether they are financially sound and whether they have been barred from doing business with the U.S. government due to some unethical issues. So I've had them look into that database and, figure out which organizations that have done international development are on it and what was the reasons that they may have gotten debarred and so forth. So basically the readings are quite varied and tend to be very quite current. There's none are more than a few years old, for example, and they're all aimed at practitioners.